Well, first of all, maybe they try to buy us or ignore us, then buy us. If that doesn't work, they threaten us, or they talk to our board members, whatever is necessary to, so that we comply with the interest of the political parties and the candidates. And of course, we are civil society, and we never trust politicians. I mean, we know that there are very few what we call champions. Politicians are really for defending values, but that's always a minority in every single country.
Well, Ignacio Arzuaga, it's such a joy to talk to you. I'll tell you why it's a joy. Anybody who hasn't heard of you, I think they might have done actually without realizing it, because you are one of the founders of something called Citizen Go. And as far as I can tell, you've got about 19 million contacts, and you reach out to 50 countries in about 12 languages, and you promote things like real marriage and the benefits of real marriage, and you get people to galvanize around laws that attack those sorts of things and change all sorts of attempting to change all sorts of things. And it's a mighty tool which stops the rate of decay in society. So well done you, first of all, and thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very happy to be talking about marriage, the natural family, and what we do at Citizen Go.
Yeah, brilliant. And so, tell us a little bit about, so you were a lawyer. I wouldn't mind just learning a little bit about the background. I mean, it's been phenomenally successful in the last, 12, 13 years?
Yeah, we started in 2013, so I think it's 12 years, 12 years of age.
So what made you, you were a lawyer, you were a fairly successful lawyer as far as I can tell, and then you thought, oh no, I'll go and do something else instead.
So that is correct. I studied law, with a university college run by the Jesuits in Madrid, ICADE. And then I also moved to New York, where I stayed for 1 year. And I studied another Jesuit university, which is Fordham Law School. So I worked, for as a lawyer for, quite a few years. And as a side project, after, a couple of years working as a lawyer, I created this petition website, initially only in Spanish. I was based in Madrid, my home city. And the thing started to grow. People loved to sign a petition, in the early 2000s. That was not that internet had just started. So we started writing petitions, in favor of the family. I remember the first petition was to ask the then Spanish Prime Minister José María Aznar from the center-right party, Popular Party, to approve a law to protect and promote families. That was exactly the first one. But we grew very significantly. I remember in 2005, again, the brand, the organization at that time was called, and is still called for Spain, Hazte Oír, which is something like make you heard or speak out. And in Spanish, and in 2005, the then socialist government announced that they wanted to approve a law to recognize homosexual marriage, so-called. And of course, we mobilized against that law. There were very big demonstrations, rallies in Madrid and all over Spain. Finally, the law was approved, sadly. And then, another big moment was 2009 with our, abortion on demand law that was also approved by the socialist government. So, those topics were. And then in 2013, so that was, I started in 2001. After it, in 2013, it's when I realized that, this battle for life, family, freedom, it's a global battle. So we opened Citizen Go. Starting, I think, with 7 languages or so, 7 countries. Right now, I think we are 13 languages and like 27 countries. We have campaigners on the ground, fighting for these values locally and also globally when we come together and we run global petitions, that in favor of these values that people all over the world share. So that's
brilliant. And tell me some more about, because you've had quite a few successes, haven't you, in terms of getting, we missed in the UK, of course, the same-sex marriage legislation went through about 2012. So we just kind of missed Citizen Go because, again, if the public had been involved, it would have been a very different story. And that's not, we had civil partnerships. So we had, a way of getting equality in law for same-sex couples who wanted that. But it went on, and the rest is history. But you've actually been quite successful as an organisation in stopping various things. And tell us a little bit about some of the successes you've had.
Yeah, so I remember one of the first petitions, a European-wide petition. We were targeting the European Parliament, and specifically, members of the European Parliament. At that time, by the way, the UK was part of the European Union,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I remember that many. It was a law. No, it was a declaration, run by the statement by the European Parliament in favor of gender ideology and abortion. And up to that point, they had always won those types of votes in the European Parliament. And there was almost no other organization that was running petitions in the way we were doing, like with a global outreach, or even in this case would be European reach. And many MEPs, members of European Parliament, were surprised by the number of emails from their countries, from their constituents, asking them to vote no for this declaration. And so it was a very close vote, but finally we won. And I remember, like all the leftist organizations that are trying to lobby the European institution, the European Parliament, and some members of the European Parliament from the left, pro-abortion, pro-LGBT lobby, they were extremely angry at, because they didn't expect at all, this type of. After that, they mobilized. They realized, what was happening, and they they won some other votes. But that was a very important moment for us, I think. Yeah, we have stopped also. I mean, a couple of, can mention other examples, global campaigns that we have run. There is a annual meeting at the UN, the CSW, where they always try to push gender ideology and abortion. And we've run, big campaigns. We always are, it takes place in New York, in the headquarters of the UN. And we have also stopped many. There's always like a final statement or declaration, and we always. I don't know how to manage with other like-minded nonprofits that are lobbying on the ground with us. We run this big petition signature campaign, and finally, there's enough countries that block these parts of the statement that are very detrimental for the family and for the human beings as a whole.
So you keep a good eye on what's going on, which is great, and you've got a significant. I'm guessing you've got some big enemies, because once you get. I mean, it must have been tough when it was small, but also it's tough in a different way when it's big, because you get a different type of enemy, I'm sure.
Yeah, bigger enemy for sure. The good thing is that because we've been in the fight, and we have this model that we base in, well, we say in mobilization and confrontational politics. So we actually confront politicians, not only the leftist politicians, but sometimes also the politicians in the center right, where many times they say they're gonna promote good values, and then when they are in power, they just forget about these values and actually promote the pro-death or pro LGBT agenda. So we are. So that's why we get the more influential we are, we get attacks from the leftist media, sometimes again from center right politicians or media. But we want to remain independent. We never ask our members to vote for a specific party, but of course we want to be part in the election season, and we want to inform our people, about the position of the different parties. And sometimes we ask our members not to vote a specific party, sometimes on the left and sometimes in the center right, because we realize that politicians will listen to you or to us in the legislative season when they realize that we will also make an impact, and we influence the election whenever it happens.
Yeah.
And that's something we've learned the hard way. And yes, and sometimes the politicians try to to threat. Well, first of all, maybe they try to buy us or ignore us, then buy us. If that doesn't work, they threaten us, or they talk to our board members, whatever is necessary to, so that we comply with the interest of the political parties and the candidates. And of course, we are civil society, and we never trust politicians. I mean, we know that there are very few what we call champions. Politicians are really for defending values, but that's always a minority in every single country.
Yeah, and it's not about left and right so much as wrong and right, isn't
Correct.
it? And
Yeah,
because both sides can have good policies and bad policies, and actually,
absolutely.
and so you stand up for things like you're against drag queen hour, teaching things to kids when they're too young. There was a big global campaign around Netflix recently, which was very, very interesting. And again, you've got some clout there, Ignacio. It's quite remarkable. But as well as that, you're very magnanimous. You work with other organisations too, which is great. You don't say, well, we're just going to do this on our own. You really bring other people on board, and you share the love, if I can put it that way, which is great. What persuaded you to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we're very conscious that we are a part of a movement, and that if it was only us, fighting this fight, we would lose. The other side is too big, for us to actually fight and win. So we always wanted to partner with other organizations. Maybe the other organizations are better than us, with traditional media or with social media, or maybe they are better, like, I don't know, in analyzing legislation or going to the courts or whatever. Sometimes we do also these types of actions, but we're really, really good at online petitions and online campaigns, and we always want to take those signatures to the decision maker, in person. But yeah, I mean, we realized that many, especially in continental Europe, I think the UK it's a little bit better, maybe because of your special relationship with the US. But in continental Europe, we don't, most nonprofits, they are not professionalized. They do very poor fundraising, and they don't build a list. And you need to have a list. Maybe it could be an email
Yeah,
list, or could
absolutely.
be postal mail. I don't know, but usually it's email today. Could be also phone numbers. But most organizations, they don't realize that they need to build a list. They don't know how to do it. So we run petitions, joint petitions with other nonprofits, and then the people that sign the petition accept to receive emails from the partner organization. We just give all these email addresses so that organization can grow their own audience, and hopefully mobilize more people, for good causes.
Yeah, and I think it's brilliant work, and it's great. And I would encourage anyone that's not involved with you to get involved with you. And the other thing I would ask is, in terms of the future, Ignacio, because it's like there was what happened. It was a while ago now when Jeff Bezos went up to space, and 2 million people signed a petition not to let him down again. Now, funny, ridiculous, funny. But the other side of it is that there are easy petitions all over the place, and it's very easy to sign an e-petition, and people ignore them more often these days because there are so many of them. So how do you maintain the relevance and the impact, and what does it mean going forward?
Yeah, in the first years, mostly it was about online petitions, and people would love, it was very new. And actually, decision makers, I mentioned the example about the European Parliament and the members of the European Parliament, how they were impacted by that. But yes, today there are many platforms that, run petitions. People get overwhelmed with emails and also text messages, or WhatsApp messages. So that's very common. So we realized, many years ago, that we needed to go much farther beyond, what's a pure online petition. So that's why I mentioned we deliver the signatures in person, but we sometimes organize rallies, on the ground. We also talk to, whenever possible, to the decision maker or to other politicians. We try. So then there is what we call outside operations, what we do, outside from the political world, like the parties world, or the politicians. And then there is inside operations that we also try to do, especially partnering with champions. But the most important thing is, being able to mobilize a lot of people and to put pressure from the outset, and then the
Yeah,
politicians start to fear you. Also, social networks has become something really, really important.
yeah,
And in Spain, probably it's again, we are in 25 countries, but Spain, of course, is the biggest country because
Yeah. Yeah.
I was citizen go was born here,
Mm.
and we ran buses, full page ads in the main newspapers. We last weekend we organized the premiere of a movie that talks
Wow.
about the corruption of our current prime minister, another socialist, Pedro
Yeah.
Sanchez,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
those things on the ground are extremely necessary in today, today's world. Yeah.
Great stuff. Listen, it's you're a busy man. I'm so grateful for your time. You really have. It's great coming across somebody who's really made a dent in the universe, and you've really stopped the rate of decay in many areas. So well done for that. Thank you. Wish you all the best for the future, and I'm really grateful for you giving us some time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.